Once upon a time, nestled deep in the heart of a quiet countryside, there stood a McDonald's farm unlike any other. It was an ordinary farm by day, with golden fields of wheat swaying in the breeze and cows grazing lazily. But by night, it became a place of eerie and unsettling happenings. The farm was owned by Old Man McDonald, a grizzled farmer who was known throughout the region for his eccentricity. He had inherited the farm from his ancestors and had lived there all his life. However, strange things began to occur after Old Man McDonald started experimenting with unconventional farming methods. One moonless night, a group of curious teenagers decided to explore the mysteries of McDonald's farm. Armed with flashlights and bravery, they ventured onto the property. The air grew cold as they stepped through the rusted gate, and eerie shadows danced across the fields. As they walked deeper into the farm, they heard unsettling whispers that seemed to come from the very earth itself. The whispering grew louder, and the teenagers felt an overwhelming sense of dread. Suddenly, they stumbled upon an old barn. The barn door creaked open, revealing a dimly lit interior. The air was thick with the stench of decay. Inside, the teenagers were horrified to discover rows upon rows of scarecrows, each one more sinister than the last. These scarecrows were not made of straw and cloth, but of old, tattered clothes and animal bones. The scarecrows seemed to move, their empty eyes following the intruders. Terrified, the teenagers tried to flee, but the entrance to the barn slammed shut, trapping them inside. Panic set in as they realized that they were not alone. The scarecrows had come to life, their disjointed limbs moving with an eerie grace. The scarecrows advanced, their movements jerky and unnatural. One by one, the teenagers were ensnared by the straw-like arms and dragged deeper into the barn. Their screams echoed through the night as they vanished into the darkness. Meanwhile, back at the farmhouse, Old Man McDonald sat in his rocking chair, a twisted grin on his face. He had made a pact with the supernatural forces that inhabited his farm, offering them the souls of trespassers in exchange for a bountiful harvest. It was a sinister trade that had kept him and his farm thriving for generations. From that night on, McDonald's farm became known as a place to be avoided at all costs. Locals whispered of the eerie scarecrows that roamed the fields at night, and tales of the farm's dark secrets were passed down through generations. But no one dared to set foot on the farm ever again, for fear of becoming the next victim of its terrifying inhabitants. And so, McDonald's farm remained a place of darkness and dread, a testament to the horrifying secrets that can lurk behind the facade of the ordinary. Years had passed since the horrifying events that unfolded on McDonald's farm that fateful night. The farm had gained a sinister reputation, its name whispered in hushed tones among the locals. But as time went on, the story became more than just a cautionary tale. It became a dark legend. Old Man McDonald had grown even more reclusive, rarely venturing beyond the boundaries of his eerie farm. The scarecrows that had once been lifeless guardians of the fields had become more menacing. Their presence felt even during daylight hours. The crops, however, continued to flourish, and people in the nearby town whispered that the farm had made a devilish pact to ensure its prosperity. One evening, a group of paranormal investigators, drawn by the tales of the haunted McDonald's farm, decided to brave the darkness. Armed with cameras, audio recorders, and an unwavering determination to uncover the truth, they ventured onto the accursed property. The night was moonless, and the farm was engulfed in an eerie silence that sent shivers down their spines. They made their way to the infamous barn, its door still bearing the scars of the teenagers' desperate attempts to escape. As they entered the barn, a chilling wind swept through, extinguishing their lanterns. In the inky darkness, they could hear the unmistakable sound of straw rustling and whispers that seemed to emanate from the very walls of the barn. The investigators strained their senses to the limit, trying to discern the source of the eerie sounds. Suddenly, a blood-curdling scream pierced the night. The investigators' flashlights flickered to life, revealing a horrifying sight. The scarecrows, once stationary sentinels, now moved with a malevolent purpose. Their eyes glowed with an otherworldly light as they descended upon the intruders. One by one, the investigators were seized by the grotesque scarecrows, their fingers like claws digging into their flesh. Their pleas for mercy went unanswered as they were dragged into the darkness of the barn. The air was thick with the stench of decay and despair as the barn door slammed shut behind them, sealing their fate. Meanwhile, Old Man McDonald watched from the shadows, his twisted grin growing wider with each scream. He had become one with the malevolent forces that now ruled the farm, and he reveled in the darkness that had consumed him. The legend of McDonald's farm grew even darker after that night. Those who dared to speak of it claimed that the barn was a gateway to a realm of nightmares, where the souls of the unfortunate were trapped for all eternity. The farm itself had become a cursed place, a blight on the once tranquil countryside, and so, McDonald's farm remained a place of unspeakable horror, a testament to the depths of darkness that can lurk in the most unsuspecting of places. It stood as a warning to all who dared to tread on its unhallowed grounds, for once you entered, there was no escape from the terrifying fate that awaited within.